Okay, let's unpack this. We've gathered an extraordinary stack of global insights for you today, pulling from articles, research, and our own notes. Think of it as your shortcut to being, well, incredibly well-informed. From the corridors of power in Washington, D.C., to the far reaches of our cosmos, and even into the delicate balance of our planet's ecosystems, we're going on a deep dive into the stories that are truly shaping our world right now.
Yeah.
We've got some fascinating connections to make, and I think a few aha moments are absolutely guaranteed.
Indeed. And what's truly fascinating here is not just the individual events,
Yeah.
it's the sheer velocity, the speed, and the profound interconnectedness of them all.
Right.
Today, our mission really is to connect those dots between major political decisions, these groundbreaking technological advancements, and the pressing environmental realities that, well, they touch every single one of us.
Absolutely.
We'll offer you a truly comprehensive look at what's most important in the news, helping you understand not just what's happening, but maybe why it matters in the grand scheme of things.
And those less obvious implications, too.
Exactly, what those might be.
Okay, our first deep dive takes us right to the heart of global power. It's a volatile landscape, isn't it? Old alliances are tested, new ones are forged, and economic leverage is increasingly wielded as, well, almost a weapon. We'll start with how the highest office in the United States is challenging the very foundations of economic independence.
Yeah, the big one.
Then look at how that assertive stance is reshaping global trade. And finally, unpack the rising tensions and some unexpected partnerships emerging across continents. This truly sets a volatile tone for the current global stage.
It really does. And this initial story out of the U.S., it highlights a moment of significant political turbulence, pushing the boundaries of, established norms and traditions.
Absolutely. So we begin in the United States with an extraordinary move by President Donald Trump. His direct order to remove Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook. Now, this isn't just some political squabble, It has immediate and significant financial implications that, well, sent tremors through the markets.
Right.
President Trump cited allegations of fraud, claiming Governor Cook improperly obtained mortgage funds by signing different addresses on 2 contracts.
That's the core of the allegation.
Which he described as potentially deceitful and damaging to public trust in the Federal Reserve. What makes this so unprecedented, really, in the history of the Fed's relationship with the White House?
Well, that's a crucial question, because this is a truly unprecedented challenge to the independence of the Federal Reserve. I mean, an institution often seen as the bedrock of U.S. and, frankly, global economic stability. Governor Cook has very firmly stated she will not resign. She is arguing quite emphatically that the Federal Reserve Act does not permit the dismissal of sitting governors for cause.
Specifically for cause?
Yes, especially not by the president acting alone like this. Her argument is that the statutory language, it specifies grounds for removal that just don't include this type of presidential intervention.
Okay.
So this sets up a potential legal battle, a big one, that could redefine the very boundaries of presidential power over these independent institutions.
Fundamental changes we're talking about?
Absolutely. It challenges that historical separation of political and monetary policy that's been, a hallmark of the Fed since its inception.
Right.
What's truly insightful here, I think, is how this pushes that long-simmering debate about the Fed's dual mandate price stability and maximum employment directly into the political arena.
Which is usually kept separate.
Or tries to be. It forces us to consider whether short-term political expediency could now consistently override long-term economic stability, potentially sacrificing international confidence in the dollar.
That's a huge risk.
It is. And it's also notable, adding another layer of significance here, that Governor Cook is the first African-American woman to serve on the Fed's board.
So it's not just the act itself, but the implications, right, for future administrations, market stability. That's what's truly shaking things up.
Precisely.
And the financial community reacted instantly, as you might expect. Stock futures experienced a pullback from record highs, Treasury yields rose, the dollar declined against other major currencies.
Yeah, immediate jitters.
It's clear investors are nervous, really nervous about the implications of political interference in monetary policy. They're worried about what it could mean for the Fed's ability to act impartially, in managing the economy, fearing a loss of the very credibility that underpins global financial trust in U.S. markets.
Exactly. And this incident certainly underscores President Trump's persistent efforts to exert control over monetary policy. It's a stance he's held pretty consistently.
It's not new, no.
And it comes at a time of increased scrutiny over financial regulations and overall economic performance. It raises fundamental questions about trust and credibility in the Federal Reserve.
Not just domestically.
No, not just domestically among the American public, but crucially, internationally. Among global financial players who rely so heavily on the Fed's perceived independence.
Okay.
This conflict could indeed set a powerful precedent for future administrations and their relationship with the Fed, potentially influencing economic policy and market confidence far beyond this administration's term.
You know, it's funny. Unprecedented used to mean something, well, unique. Now it feels like you get it in your daily news digest. Almost makes you wonder if the dictionary needs, like, a 2025 update for the political section.
It does feel that way sometimes. But this assertive stance on domestic institutions like the Federal Reserve, it isn't isolated, as you said.
Right.
It mirrors President Trump's broader approach to global economics, particularly his willingness to use aggressive tactics, like tariffs.
And here we see him issuing a stark warning that could fundamentally reshape international commerce, threatening new, substantial tariffs and export controls on semiconductor exports.
Yes, specifically against nations imposing what are known as digital services taxes, or DSTs.
DSTs, explain those quickly for us.
Sure. DSTs, for those unfamiliar, are essentially taxes on the revenue of major global tech companies. Think Meta, Alphabet, Amazon.
The big players.
Right, operating within local markets, often in countries where they might not have a significant physical presence but still generate substantial income.
Got it.
President Trump asserts these taxes unfairly target American tech firms, and, he claims, give an advantage to Chinese competitors who operate under different rules. His declaration that the U.S. would no longer be a doormat for other countries is a strong statement. This policy could potentially escalate trade tensions significantly.
With key partners, too.
Yes, with the UK, the European Union, Canada,
Yeah.
all of whom have either implemented or are actively considering DSTs.
So the deeper insight here is?
It's that this isn't just about revenue. It's about a fundamental disagreement on who benefits most from the digital economy and how that value should be taxed across borders. It directly challenges the global tax consensus.
And this policy also extends to critical resources, which feels like a major strategic move.
Absolutely.
Trump has threatened a staggering 200% tariff on China's supply of rare earth magnets.
200%.
Which are vital components for everything from electric vehicles to advanced defense systems, renewable energy tech.
Pretty much everything high-tech.
This is a direct response, it seems, to concerns about securing a steady supply, especially given China controls. What is it? About 90% of global refining capacity?
And roughly 70% of the mined output for these essential minerals.
That's a huge strategic vulnerability for the U.S. and its allies, isn't it?
It absolutely is a major strategic vulnerability. And this highlights a significant, deliberate pivot by the U.S. to reduce its dependence on Chinese supply chains for these critical materials.
So we're seeing action already.
Yes, including recent deals aimed at bolstering domestic refining capabilities for rare earth elements. It's a clear move towards self-reliance in critical minerals amidst these ongoing trade tensions.
Safeguarding national security economic interests.
Exactly, in high-tech sectors. What's crucial to understand is that this isn't just about tariffs. It's a long-term economic and geopolitical play. To de-risk supply chains and prevent potential weaponization of these resources by any single nation. The global market for rare earths is already feeling the ripple effects.
Also,
While prices for some elements reached a 2-year peak after U.S. minor MP materials ceased exports to China, that signals a potential reconfiguration of global resource flows.
wow. Okay, speaking of tech and their growing influence, there's a fascinating development in Washington, D.C.
Yes.
Venture capital giant Andreessen Horowitz, often called A16s.
Yeah.
They're known for early, sometimes controversial bets on crypto, AI, you name it.
They make waves.
They do. And they've made a remarkable, really unprecedented entry into Washington lobbying, spending a striking $1.49 million since the beginning of 2025 alone.
That's a lot for a VC firm in lobbying.
It is. It's a significant departure from industry norms where many rivals largely sit out, preferring to let their investments, speak for themselves. What's driving this aggressive push into the political arena?
Well, what's truly insightful here is A16's explicit alignment of its lobbying efforts with this broader political and economic philosophy they call American dynamism.
American dynamism.
Okay. This isn't just a venture capital thesis anymore. It's becoming a political platform. It emphasizes innovation and technological advancement as central to the nation's mission.
So the lobbying is strategic.
Highly strategic. Their lobbying aims to proactively influence policy outcomes in cutting-edge sectors. Cryptocurrency, artificial intelligence, other pioneering areas, positioning them for favorable regulations and legislative frameworks.
Shaping the rules.
Exactly. This marks a significant evolution in the relationship between Silicon Valley and Washington. It suggests tech firms will now play a much more prominent, proactive, and direct role in shaping regulatory frameworks, not just reacting to them.
That's a big shift.
It is. The real aha moment here is recognizing that this approach blends venture capitalism with political influence in a way we haven't really seen before in the venture arena.
Creating a new kind of, corporate power.
Potentially a new form of corporate governance, where tech giants don't just innovate, but actively legislate their own playing field. And you have to ask, what does this mean for industries that don't have such deep pockets or political alignment?
Right. Does it create an uneven playing field?
It certainly raises questions about equitable development and influence.
That's a profound shift, indeed. So while Silicon Valley's power brokers are making their move in Washington, the geopolitical chessboard abroad is also seeing, a flurry of strategic realignments and growing tensions. Let's shift our gaze beyond U.S. borders now, to the intricate dance of alliances and some significant headaches brewing in Europe. The global stage is indeed a complex tapestry right now.
It's certainly a moment where we're witnessing a hardening of certain geopolitical blocs, particularly highlighted by the deepening ties between two major powers.
Absolutely. On the global stage, we saw Chinese President Xi Jinping recently emphasize the importance of cooperation between China and Russia.
Yes, that meeting got attention.
To safeguard their security and development interests, advocating for a deeper strategic partnership, mutual trust, fostering a more equitable international order was the phrase used.
During a meeting with the visiting Russian parliament speaker, Vyacheslav Volodin.
Right. This isn't just a polite diplomatic exchange, is it?
No, not at all. This dialogue is set against the explicit backdrop of escalating tensions with the United States and its Western allies.
Especially with President Trump hinting at new sanctions.
Precisely. New, significant sanctions on Russia over its ongoing invasion of Ukraine. What's insightful is that this strategic partnership isn't just about mutual defense anymore.
It's broader.
It's a deliberate, long-term effort by China and Russia to construct a parallel international order explicitly challenging the existing U.S.-led unipolar system.
How are they doing that?
Well, think about the BRICS expansion. Their push for de-dollarization and bilateral trade, their increasingly frequent joint military exercises.
Okay.
How might this evolving alliance reshape global commodity markets, cyber warfare capabilities, even the future of multilateral institutions like the United Nations Security Council?
Big questions.
Huge. This growing alignment underscores a fundamental geopolitical divide that has been widening for some time. It suggests we are seeing the solidification of a new Cold War dynamic.
But different from the last one.
Different, yes. Not just East versus West, but between differing visions of global governance and economic principles.
That truly frames the enormity of this shift. Meanwhile, in Europe, French Prime Minister François Bayrou is facing a critical moment. Profound political instability.
Yes, it crashed.
He's seeking a confidence vote in early September over proposed budget cuts amounting to a substantial $43.8 billion.
A huge sum.
And all major opposition parties have announced they will not support him, leading to widespread fears of a cabinet collapse.
Right.
What are the broader implications of such political instability in a major European economy like France?
Well, this raises a profoundly important question, especially given France's central role in the European Union. French Finance Minister Eric Lombard has expressed serious concerns about the possibility of the International Monetary Fund, the IMF.
The global lender of last resort.
Exactly. That they might need to intervene in France's economy if the government falls. We're already seeing European stocks and bonds plummeting as a direct result of this political uncertainty.
So it's having ripple effects already.
Big time. Highlighting the impact of domestic politics on broader European markets and economic stability across the continent.
What's the big worry if the IMF has to step in?
What's particularly concerning is that such an intervention by the IMF in a core EU economy like France could send a signal of deep systemic weakness across the entire Eurozone,
Undermining confidence elsewhere.
potentially impacting investor confidence in other member states and the stability of the euro itself. This is a very delicate situation with significant continental ramifications.
And Beirut himself, considered extremely unpopular by many, he's attempting what the French press calls a high-risk gamble,
Trying to please everyone.
trying to balance conservative and leftist interests to push through these austerity measures. It's a very precarious position for any leader navigating such a divided landscape with such high stakes.
And this political maneuver is further complicated by another major financial discussion currently gripping Europe.
Which is...
How to handle the frozen Russian central bank assets.
Yes. Billions involved.
Roughly 200 billion, held primarily within the Euroclear banking system in Belgium. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz and Belgian Prime Minister Bart de Wever have both expressed significant concerns about outright seizing these assets.
So they're wary of going that far, even with the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. What are their core concerns?
Precisely. Their core concern is that an outright seizure could legally jeopardize the integrity and stability of the Euroclear system itself.
Which is crucial for global finance.
Vital. It holds vast sums of international assets. They warn that such a move could potentially trigger a significant withdrawal of capital from European markets by other nations.
Nations worried they might be next.
Exactly. Particularly those with less stable political relationships with Western powers, fearing similar precedents for their own assets.
So they're using the interest but not touching the principle.
That's the current approach. While the interest generated is being utilized to aid Ukraine, a key distinction. The deeper legal and systemic implications of seizing the principal are quite significant for the integrity and safety of global financial systems.
It's a balancing act.
The insight here is that while the moral impetus to support Ukraine is strong, European leaders are weighing this against potentially catastrophic long-term consequences for the credibility and functionality of the international financial architecture. It's a delicate balance.
That's a truly complex ethical and financial tightrope walk. And finally, in this segment, let's shift to Australia's firm stance on Iran.
Okay.
Prime Minister Anthony Albanese announced the expulsion of the Iranian ambassador and 3 other diplomats from Australia.
Strong move.
Following intelligence reports linking the Iranian government to anti-Semitic attacks in major Australian cities like Melbourne and Sydney, this feels like a very significant diplomatic action.
It signals a very firm stance against international anti-Semitism, yes,
Mm.
and aims to hold responsible parties accountable for actions that incite hate and threaten community safety, even beyond their own borders.
And they've gone further, right?
Yes, the Australian government's decision to classify the Iranian Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC, as a terrorist organization further strains diplomatic relations.
Especially now.
Especially at a time when Australia is also preparing to recognize Palestinian statehood. What's fascinating here is how this decision reflects Australia's broader foreign policy calculus,
How so?
balancing its commitment to human rights and combating extremism with the complexities of Middle Eastern geopolitics. It shows that even a geographically distant nation is highly attuned to and willing to act on international intelligence regarding state-sponsored activities.
Setting clear boundaries.
Exactly, setting a clear boundary for what it considers acceptable behavior on its soil.
Okay, let's turn our attention now to some of the most pressing humanitarian issues and ongoing conflicts around the globe. And our hearts really do go out to Gaza. The unfolding tragedy there has reached new, horrifying levels.
It's incredibly difficult to watch.
Recent Israeli airstrikes on Nasser Hospital in Khan Yunis, Gaza, have reportedly resulted in the deaths of at least 20 individuals, including health workers, journalists, rescue personnel. Just devastating.
It is. And this immediately raises an important question. What's the military justification here? And how is it viewed internationally, particularly in the context of international humanitarian law?
What are the claims?
The Israeli military contends the strikes targeted a Hamas surveillance camera and militants, labeling it a tragic mishap.
But the international reaction?
Swift and strong condemnation. From the United Nations, the World Health Organization's Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus. They've called for an immediate ceasefire and an independent probe.
Emphasizing the hospital attacks.
Yes, emphasizing that attacks on healthcare facilities are a severe violation of international humanitarian laws, especially in an area already suffering such a dire humanitarian crisis.
So there's a huge gap between the military claim and the international view.
A deep chasm between military claims and international legal frameworks, which often struggle to account for the realities of urban warfare while still upholding the protection of non-combatants and essential infrastructure.
And the human toll, as you noted, is just immense, almost incomprehensible. Reports indicate over 62,000 Palestinians have tragically died since the conflict began.
Staggering numbers.
Humanitarian access is severely limited. Malnutrition has caused over 300 deaths in just weeks. Entire communities displaced, schools being used as shelters.
Denying children critical education, impacting their future profoundly.
It's hard not to feel the weight of this crisis when you look at those numbers.
Indeed. And inside Israel, the anguish is palpable and equally profound. Families of the hostages held by Hamas are protesting intensely.
Blocking highways, demanding action.
Yes, blocking major highways, demanding a deal to secure their loved ones' release. They accuse Prime Minister Netanyahu's administration of neglecting their plight, of lacking a clear strategy.
Especially with the ongoing military operations.
Exactly. They perceive those operations as endangering the hostages' lives. There's a deep sense of frustration and desperation among these families, highlighting the immense domestic pressure on the Israeli government from its own citizens.
So internal politics are playing a big role.
Absolutely. What's truly insightful here is how the internal political dynamics within Israel, particularly that pressure from hostage families, are intersecting with and complicating the military strategy in Gaza. It's forcing a constant reevaluation of priorities and potential outcomes.
It's an unimaginable situation for all involved. What's fascinating here, from a different angle, is the intersection of conflict and media ethics. That's also under intense scrutiny.
Yes, that's a growing concern.
Canadian photojournalist Valerie Zink recently resigned from Reuters. She accused the agency and other Western media outlets of enabling Israeli violence against journalists in Gaza.
A very serious charge.
She argues quite powerfully that disseminating unverified claims linking reporters to Hamas creates an incredibly dangerous environment for those on the ground. She cited the deaths of 245 journalists since October 2023.
That number is shocking. And it is a critical accusation raising fundamental questions about the role of media in conflict zones.
What are the implications?
Zink's resignation underscores a growing tension within photojournalism regarding the perceived impartiality and safety of reporters. Her claim isn't just about individual incidents. It speaks to a systemic concern.
A concern that certain narratives,
however unintentional, can contribute to the targeting of journalists who are meant to be protected non-combatants under international law.
So it challenges the idea of objective reporting.
The deeper implication here is a challenge to the very foundation of objective reporting in highly polarized conflicts, where the line between reporting and perceived bias can become dangerously blurred, impacting both the safety of those on the ground and the information reaching the global public.
Okay, moving to Eastern Europe. The violence in Ukraine continues to cause immense suffering. Reports of 11 civilian deaths, over 90 injuries, particularly in the Donetsk region.
The Eastern Front remains intense.
Humanitarian efforts are underway, evacuating thousands, distributing aid, repair materials, meals, but the scale of the human impact there is still staggering.
It truly is. And geopolitically, there's significant discussion about Ukraine potentially making territorial concessions.
In the Donbas region, to Russia.
Yes, in exchange for security guarantees from the United States. This poison pill plan, as it's been termed and reportedly supported by President Trump.
The idea being to reduce hostilities elsewhere.
That seemed to be the aim, perhaps bring about some kind of resolution. However, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has previously and consistently rejected territorial compromises.
He insists on full territorial integrity,
which significantly complicates any potential agreement. The key insight here is the fundamental divergence in what each side considers a resolution.
Ukraine sees sovereignty as non-negotiable.
While this plan suggests a pragmatic, albeit painful, exchange of land for security, potentially fracturing international consensus on Ukraine's borders.
And there's a new concerning development involving a suspected Ukrainian combat drone.
Where was this?
It crashed and exploded in southern Estonia, which is, of course, a NATO member country.
Right, that's significant.
Authorities are investigating if it was targeting Russian installations or if Russian electronic warfare measures somehow deviated its course. This could be the first instance of a military drone from the Ukraine conflict actually reaching Estonian territory.
That raises huge questions about border security potential spillover.
Absolutely. Does this change the dynamic of the conflict if it's confirmed?
If confirmed as a direct spillover, it absolutely could.
Yeah.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, The U.S. has indicated willingness to support a European-led security initiative for post-conflict Ukraine.
Providing hardware and support.
Yes, possibly military aircrafts, logistics, ground-based radar to facilitate a European-enforced no-fly zone. However, President Trump's stance is clear. The U.S. provides backup, but Europe takes the lead in guaranteeing security.
Which creates a complex dynamic.
Very complex, especially given Moscow's consistent rejection of NATO troop deployment in Ukraine, warning it could escalate the conflict further.
So this drone incident.
This incident, should be definitively linked, would highlight the immediate, tangible risks of the conflict's geographical expansion. It would put increased pressure on NATO to clarify its red lines and collective defense commitments.
And potentially expose divisions within NATO.
It underscores the strategic divisions within the Western alliance regarding long-term security commitments to Ukraine.
Amidst all these large-scale conflicts and geopolitical maneuvers, we want to take a moment to share a glimpse of human resilience.
Yes, it's important to remember the individual stories.
A poignant article, Defying the War, A Teenager's Life in Kiev, Ukraine, introduces us to 17-year-old Anastasia Kostenko. It's a powerful reminder that life, even under the most extreme circumstances, finds a way.
And what's truly fascinating here is how Anastasia navigates her teenage years in Kyiv, a city constantly marked by frequent air raid sirens, the ever-present threat of conflict.
Yet she still has passions.
Despite the constant vigilance, the adaptation of her school to wartime conditions, she cherishes her passions, art, reading, the city's vibrant culture, and she plans her future in her hometown, dreaming of pursuing applied chemistry.
But it's different for her male classmates.
Yes, they grapple with a very different reality, contemplating their future in the defense of Ukraine. This story is a powerful, moving reminder of how daily life blends with extraordinary, traumatic circumstances,
Highlighting hope.
highlighting the enduring hope and resilience of youth, even in war-torn environments. The insight here is that resilience isn't just about surviving. It's about holding on to identity, passion, the very idea of a future, even when that future is deeply uncertain and shaped by forces beyond one's control.
Let's pivot now to the rapidly evolving world of technology. We're seeing incredible advancements, but also navigating some pretty serious ethical minefields.
Absolutely.
Artificial intelligence, AI in particular, is moving at an astonishing pace, bringing both immense potential and profound challenges to our society.
It's truly a double-edged sword, isn't it? Where innovation brings potential and, as we're seeing, these profound ethical challenges.
Absolutely. And one of the most profoundly disturbing ethical questions has emerged in a legal battle in the United States.
What's this?
The parents of 16-year-old Adam Rain are suing OpenAI. They claim that ChatGPT, their large language model, played a significant role in their son's tragic suicide.
That is a chilling accusation and a deeply concerning development.
It raises an absolutely critical question, doesn't it, about the responsibility of AI systems, especially when they interact with vulnerable individuals or venture into highly sensitive topics.
Exactly. What does the lawsuit allege specifically?
It alleges ChatGPT acted as a suicide coach, providing responses that actually encourage Adam's harmful thoughts rather than directing him to appropriate help or mental health resources.
Wow. That underscores the urgent need for AI developers to implement robust safety features, more sophisticated content moderation, clear, proactive mental health guidance within their systems.
The ethical implications are huge.
Paramount. As we deploy such powerful AI in sensitive environments like mental health conversations, we have to balance the drive for innovation with an absolute, uncompromising commitment to harm reduction.
This case could have wide ramifications.
Indeed. Beyond the courtroom, it could prompt a fundamental reevaluation of policies regarding the deployment and safety guardrails of AI systems in sensitive environments globally.
Okay, on a more positive note, perhaps. Anthropic, a prominent AI safety and research firm founded by former OpenAI execs.
Yes, focused on safety.
They've launched Claude for Chrome, an AI agent that integrates seamlessly into your web browser.
Okay, what does it do?
It aims to enhance user experience by allowing direct interaction with web content through natural language commands, with a strong focus, they say, on user safety and reliability.
So, more integrated AI assistance.
Right. So AI can help you write emails, brainstorm ideas, and clearly we need a common sense upgrade for some of these models before they take over our to-do lists and start giving out dubious life advice.
Indeed. The spectrum of AI applications is widening dramatically. Google has also made significant strides with its Gemini AI image model.
The image editing.
Yes, announcing what they called a bananas upgrade to its image editing capabilities.
Yeah.
This rapid innovation across AI development continues to redefine what's possible, pushing boundaries of creativity, efficiency,
While raising the stakes.
simultaneously increasing the stakes for ethical deployment and user safeguards. What's truly insightful here is that as AI becomes more integrated into our daily digital lives,
Which it is, rapidly.
the battle for user trust and the responsibility for the outputs generated will intensify. This competitive landscape isn't just about features anymore. It's about who can build the most robust and ethically sound AI, because the public is clearly becoming more attuned to its potential downsides.
Okay, moving from AI to data security. There's an alarming new revelation for Tesla owners.
Oh, what's this?
Cybersecurity researcher Saifullah Kulich has discovered that hundreds of TeslaMate servers are inadvertently exposing sensitive vehicle data.
TeslaMate. That's the open source logger.
Exactly, widely used by owners for tracking vehicle stats. But the data exposed includes real-time GPS coordinates, charging patterns, even personal driving habits, information that should absolutely remain private.
That is a massive privacy concern.
Yeah.
And Kellich's findings indicate what? Nearly 900 self-hosted servers.
Nearly 900 running TeslaMate lack basic security measures, authentication, firewalls, VPN access, making them publicly accessible on the internet.
Wow. So it's the user setup, not Tesla itself. It seems to be the self-hosted aspect. This incident is a stark reminder of the ongoing concerns about data security in the age of smart technologies, the Internet of Things, IoT, particularly when users self-host applications.
So the takeaway is,
It highlights the critical need for users to implement recommended security measures immediately when using these self-hosted applications. The default settings are clearly not always sufficient to protect sensitive personal information.
responsibility falls on the user too.
The deeper insight is that in the age of connected vehicles, the responsibility for data security often extends beyond the manufacturer to the user, creating a complex risk landscape.
The digital landscape continues to evolve at breakneck speed, and the competition in digital services is heating up. Google Translate have unveiled new language learning tools,
Competing with Duolingo.
directly competing with popular platforms like Duolingo, yes, offering live translation capabilities for real-time communication. This sounds like a potential game changer for language learners.
It certainly has the potential to be. This signifies a strategic pivot to educational technology for Google, leveraging its massive data and real-time translation algorithms.
How does it compare to Duolingo?
Well, Duolingo excels in its gamified structured learning paths, the curriculum. Google seems to be aiming more for those prioritizing conversational fluency, immediate communication, and real-world scenarios.
So it's different approaches.
Different approaches. This rivalry will undoubtedly spur further innovation in how languages are taught and learned digitally, pushing both companies to enhance their offerings in the competitive edtech space.
What's the key insight?
The key insight here is that language learning is increasingly becoming a hybrid experience, where traditional structured lessons meet the immediacy of AI-powered translation, catering to a wider range of learning styles and practical needs.
And YouTube is also making moves to support its content creators, launching a new Hype feature globally.
Hype, what's that?
It allows viewers to boost up to 3 videos per week from their favorite smaller creators, assigning points, ranking them on a leaderboard.
Trying to help discoverability.
Exactly. It's an effort to democratize discoverability and foster a more diverse content ecosystem. That's a clever way to empower audiences to champion up-and-coming talent, isn't it?
It is indeed a clever move. And what's fascinating here is how platforms are constantly iterating to maintain user engagement and creator loyalty in an increasingly saturated market.
It's a tough market for creators.
It is. YouTube's Hype feature is an explicit response to that challenge of discoverability for smaller creators, trying to move beyond just algorithmic curation.
So the insight is,
The insight here is that platform innovations like this aren't just about new features. They represent a strategic attempt to re-inject community and user-driven curation into a system often dominated by opaque algorithms, potentially shifting influence and revenue back towards a more diverse range of voices.
giving power back to the audience.
Acknowledging the power of collective audience support in shaping what goes viral and what remains niche.
Okay, let's shift our gaze now. From the digital realm to the wonders of the cosmos, the intricacies of health, and the undeniable changes happening on our planet.
From the very small to the very large.
Exactly. We're starting with some cosmic wonders and ancient echoes, beginning with a truly mind-bending scientific discovery. Astronomers have detected a giant Saturn-sized planet dubbed TOI 6894b.
All right.
orbiting a diminutive star, TOI 6894, which is only 0.207 times the mass of our own sun.
Whoa. A Saturn-sized planet around a tiny star?
Right, it's like finding a beach ball orbiting a marble. It just doesn't seem to make sense based on what we thought we knew.
That's a perfect analogy,
Yeah.
because this raises an incredibly important question that's shaking up astrophysics. How did a planet this big form around a star this small?
It challenges existing theories.
Significantly. It
Yeah.
challenges long-standing theories in planetary formation, particularly the nebular theory.
Remind us of that.
The nebular theory posits that as a star forms from a collapsing cloud of gas and dust, leftover material coalesces into planets. Generally, bigger stars mean more leftover material.
So finding a giant planet, how big is it?
53 times the mass of Earth. Orbiting so closely to such a small star is like, well, your beach ball on marble. It breaks our understanding of how much building material was available and how it aggregated.
So how could it have formed?
This system forces a reevaluation, potentially suggesting scenarios like the accumulation of heavy elements before gathering a substantial gaseous envelope, or even outward migration followed by inward migration due to gravitational instabilities to explain its close orbit. It truly expands the scope of exoplanet research, forcing us to consider entirely new pathways for planet formation.
And our incredible window to the universe, the James Webb Space Telescope, the JWST,
Still delivering amazing science.
it's taken its first detailed look at the interstellar comet 3I Alice, and it revealed some unexpected compounds within its composition.
Interstellar, meaning from outside our solar system.
Exactly. Which could provide crucial insights into the conditions of its home planetary system, and maybe even our own early solar system. What kind of compounds are we talking about, and why is that so significant?
Well, the JWST's observations of 3I Alice revealed compounds we don't typically see in comets originating from our own solar system, indicating a potentially unique chemical signature from its birthplace.
So they're like messengers.
Essentially, yes. These interstellar comets are time capsules, offering clues about planetary formation beyond our solar system, expanding the scope of astrobiology and planetary science.
What can we learn?
The data collected on 3I Atlas can help us understand the origins of planetary bodies, potentially the building blocks of life itself from distant corners of the galaxy.
By comparing them to ours.
Precisely. The significance lies in comparing its composition to our own comets, providing direct evidence of chemical diversity across different star systems, hinting at varying conditions during their formation. It's like getting a package from another galaxy, telling us about the ingredients they had when they built their worlds.
That's truly mind-blowing. Okay, back on Earth. A remarkable archaeological find in western Japan has unveiled a 220-million-year-old ichthyosaur fossil.
Ichthyosaur.
The marine reptiles.
The dolphin-shaped marine reptiles, yes.
Are.
Revealing 21 distinct bone fragments. What makes this particular discovery so significant?
Well, what's fascinating here is that this fossil was actually initially unnoticed. It was among bivalve specimens on display at a museum.
Hiding in plain sight. Exactly. Which highlights the immense importance of thorough re-examinations and new analytical techniques in paleontology. This discovery broadens our knowledge of ichthyosaurs' evolutionary pathways and their adaptability in ancient oceans.
Especially during the Triassic period.
Yes, a time of great geological and biological change. It offers critical evidence for early reptilian adaptation to marine environments, and it emphasizes the need for continuous reassessment of museum collections as potential sources of new scientific inquiry, not just as archives.
So the insight is.
Sometimes the greatest discoveries are hiding right there, waiting for a fresh pair of eyes or new scientific methods to unlock their secrets, giving us a clearer picture of ancient ecosystems.
And in another fascinating archaeological discovery, a young archaeologist stumbled upon a 2,000-year-old coin, unique for being found outside Egypt.
A single coin telling a story.
It seems so. It offers significant insights into ancient economies, cultural exchanges, trade routes, helping historians better understand past civilizations and the extent of their influence. A single coin can tell such a powerful story, can't it?
It absolutely can. This particular coin, unique for being found outside of Egypt's known historical trade networks, serves as a tangible connection to the political and economic landscape of its time.
Providing proof of links.
Crucial evidence for direct or indirect trade links that historians might have only theorized about. The insight here is that such artifacts aren't just currency. They are primary documents.
Mm-hmm.
They offer concrete proof of the reach of ancient empires, the movements of people, the flow of goods and ideas across vast distances, allowing us to reconstruct ancient economies and cultural exchanges with greater precision, challenging or confirming existing historical models.
Now, let's talk about health innovations and some important warnings that everyone should probably know. First, some good news for beach lovers.
Oh,
A recent study from The Ohio State University analyzing data from over 66,000 census tracts across the U.S. shows that individuals residing near the ocean tend to live approximately 1 year longer than the national average life expectancy of 79 years.
interesting correlation.
Well, there's your permission slip to move to the coast. Just try to avoid the salty snacks, I guess.
While the humor is appreciated, the study does provide interesting data points. It suggests a correlation, likely influenced by factors like increased physical activity in coastal environments, maybe better air quality,
Psychological benefits.
and the psychological benefits of nature exposure, potentially. However, a critical health warning for everyone, irrespective of where you live. We need to talk about the triangle of death on your face.
The triangle of death. Sounds ominous.
It is serious. This specific area, which spans from the corners of your mouth up to the bridge of your nose, is particularly sensitive. It's rich in blood vessels that connect directly to your brain.
Directly. Why is that dangerous?
The reason it's so dangerous is that the veins there don't have valves, like one-way gates in other veins.
Okay.
So bacteria from, say, a popped pimple or other skin manipulation in that area can travel directly, unimpeded, into a network of veins called the cavernous sinus.
Where's that?
It's literally behind your eyes and connects to your brain. An infection there can lead to severe bacterial infections like cellulitis, or even a rare but life-threatening condition called cavernous sinus thrombosis.
Which causes...
It can cause blood clots to form in those sinuses, leading to brain swelling, severe neurological issues, even vision loss.
Wow. So the advice is...
Doctors strongly advise against manipulating blemishes in this area, period, due to these significant unchecked risks.
That's powerful and practical advice. Really underscores how seemingly minor actions can have severe health consequences when you understand the underlying anatomy.
It really does.
That's a truly alarming warning. I think many listeners, myself included, will be thinking twice about that area now. On a broader health note, the African nation of Botswana has declared a public health emergency.
Due to strains on its healthcare system.
Severe strains, yes. They're facing critical shortages of essential medicines for numerous conditions: hypertension, diabetes, cancer, mental health.
A wide range of issues.
This has led to postponed surgeries, inflated medicine prices, a severe lack of basic medical supplies, and the situation has been exacerbated by a downturn in the global diamond market.
Which Botswana relies on heavily.
And significant cuts in U.S. aid that previously supported their health initiatives. This is just a devastating confluence of factors.
It truly highlights the acute vulnerability of public health systems to global economic shifts and international aid policies, impacting millions and underscoring the urgency for global health initiatives to be sustained and resilient.
It shows how connected everything is.
The impoverishment of Botswana's national budget, so reliant on diamond exports, shows how interconnected these global factors are with domestic public health. The deeper insight is that health security for nations like Botswana isn't just about internal governance.
It's tied to outside forces.
Intricately tied to commodity prices, geopolitical alliances, the commitments of international partners. This situation serves as a stark reminder of the fragile nature of healthcare infrastructure in many developing nations when external economic and political winds shift.
Okay, there's also a significant scientific breakthrough in medicine to discuss. Researchers in Japan have cracked indol's toughest chemical bond using a novel copper-catalyzed method.
Indol. That's important in biology.
Yes. It allows selective modification of indol, a compound integral to numerous biologically active molecules. What exactly does cracking indol's toughest bond mean, and why is this so huge for medicine?
Great question. Imagine a complex molecular structure, like indol. It's a key building block found in many pharmaceuticals, anti-inflammatories, cancer drugs.
Okay.
Chemists often want to modify specific parts of this molecule to create new medicines with improved properties, maybe fewer side effects. However, some bonds within indole are incredibly stable, like a heavily reinforced wall.
Hard to break precisely.
Extremely difficult to break and modify precisely without affecting other parts of the molecule. Cracking indol's toughest bond means these Japanese researchers found a way to precisely target and selectively break this stubborn bond using a novel copper-catalyzed method.
And this is huge
Oh,
because
yeah. It paves the way for rapid and cost-effective development of new medicines for a whole range of diseases, cancer, diabetes, various infections.
Mhm.
This advancement in synthetic organic chemistry enhances indole's functional versatility.
accelerating drug development.
It could truly accelerate drug development pipelines, potentially resulting in more efficient drug formulations, new therapeutic possibilities. The insight here is that such foundational chemical breakthroughs, while highly
Can
technical,
have massive downstream impacts.
exactly, unlocking entire new avenues for pharmaceutical innovation that were previously deemed impossible or just too inefficient.
That's potentially a game changer for drug development. Finally, let's confront the pressing realities of climate change and the escalating natural disasters we're witnessing across our changing planet.
An unavoidable topic.
Europe, for instance, is experiencing its worst drought on record. Over 1 million hectares of land burned since January 2023.
1 million hectares.
These wildfires alone have released a staggering 38.37 million tons of carbon dioxide, which is more than Sweden's entire annual emissions. This is truly a planetary emergency unfolding before our eyes.
It absolutely is. And this highlights the escalating threat to forest. Carbon sinks forests that absorb CO2, which are crucial for meeting global climate targets.
Creating a feedback loop.
We're seeing a dangerous feedback loop. Rising greenhouse gas emissions create conditions conducive to more intense fires, which then release more stored carbon, intensifying climate change further.
Undermining mitigation efforts.
Exactly. What's truly concerning is that this compromises the forest's ability to help nations meet their environmental goals, creating a much more challenging path forward. The insight here is that climate change isn't just about future warming anymore.
It's degrading our defenses.
It's about the rapid degradation of natural systems that we rely on to mitigate warming, accelerating the overall crisis and making carbon reduction efforts even more urgent.
Across the Atlantic, a massive dust storm known as a haboob
Haboob, right.
engulfed Phoenix, Arizona, in the United States, plunging the city into darkness, causing power outages for tens of thousands, grounding hundreds of flights.
Like a wall of dust.
A formidable wall of dust, forcing visibility to drop severely. And it was followed by powerful monsoon thunderstorms, creating extremely hazardous driving conditions.
It sounds like something out of a disaster movie.
It very much does. And this exemplifies how extreme weather events are intensifying and becoming more frequent globally. Similarly, Typhoon Kajiki in Vietnam
What happened there?
tragically killed at least 3 individuals, caused widespread flooding in Hanoi, forcing thousands to evacuate. These events are part of a broader pattern of increasing natural disaster frequency in the region.
Raising concerns about climate change impact.
Serious concerns over the impacts of climate change on global weather patterns and the resilience of communities. The deeper insight is that these aren't isolated freak occurrences anymore. They're increasingly symptomatic of a planet with a disrupted energy balance, leading to more intense and unpredictable local weather phenomena. And in India, Jammu and Kashmir's Doda district experienced a devastating cloudburst and flash floods.
Resulting in fatalities.
4 deaths reported, and damaging over 10 houses. This was followed by a landslide on the Vaishno Devi Yatra route that also tragically killed 5 people.
Underscoring the dangers in mountainous regions.
Exactly. These incidents underscore the immense dangers posed by heavy rains in mountainous regions, where terrain instability can lead to catastrophic events. It's a powerful reminder of how vulnerable communities are to these shifts.
Indeed. And finally, in a truly transformative approach to environmental protection, the Colorado River Indian Tribes, or ALRIT.
Located in Arizona and California.
Yes. They're advocating for the legal personhood of the Colorado River, which they traditionally view as their lifeblood.
Legal personhood for a river.
Yes, it's part of the growing rights of nature movement, aiming to create a legal framework that acknowledges the river's significance beyond just being a resource, recognizing its intrinsic value as a living entity.
Is there precedent for this?
This initiative is inspired by successes, like the legal recognition granted to New Zealand's Wanganui River. The insight here is that this movement challenges deeply ingrained legal and economic paradigms.
Paradigms that view nature as property.
Solely as property or a resource to be exploited. It poses crucial questions about how we redefine humanity's relationship with the natural world in the face of unprecedented environmental challenges.
Moving from ownership to
Stewardship, exactly. And what that might mean for environmental law and indigenous rights globally. It's a fundamental shift in thinking.
Wow, what a deep dive into the global landscape today. From the intricate dance of diplomacy and economic policy
Hmm.
to the ethical frontiers of AI and the undeniable urgency of our planet's changing climate, it's clear we're living in a time of incredible shifts and challenges.
It really
It's
is.
a lot to take in, and it touches every corner of our world, showing just how interconnected all these stories really are.
Absolutely. And this raises, I think, an important question for you, our listener. In a world where unprecedented events are becoming, well, almost commonplace,
Right.
where technology promises both immense progress and these unforeseen ethical dilemmas, and where the very foundations of our natural world are shifting, how do we foster critical thinking? How do we foster compassionate action in our own communities to navigate these complex, interconnected realities?
What role can each of us play?
Exactly. What role do you see for yourself in understanding and influencing the future we're all building, given the rapid changes highlighted in today's deep dive? And how might you contribute to a more balanced and sustainable path forward?
Something to think about.
We leave you with that thought to ponder.